How does that occur if the house that the person lives in is infested by evil spirit, or that in the house where that occurred, the house has been used for evil purposes like orgies, sexual deviation, drug abuse.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to Armor of God again, and as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, and hopefully all of you will be edified with what we have put together for you here in this video. Anyway, I need to let you know before we start that some of the things that I'm going to share with you will be quite disturbing, so I have to say sorry in advance. There are a few things that I'd like to share here, but I am going to start with abortion. And working with Father Stephen Imbarato before on the Catholic Questions for Catholic Priests has really helped me to realize how evil and horrifying abortion really is. So there's a conversation recently, and there's a link to the whole video in the description box below, which is almost an hour long. Anyway, I'd just like to share about 2 minutes of the discussion where these ex-abortionists and women who performed abortions before, and just listen to what they went through, especially what the ex-abortionists said during the discussion.
I have a question that I've always wondered. When I had to look for the body parts, the 5 pieces of the baby, the first time I knew that was a human being. Like, the scales fell off my eyes, and I was literally in shock. And the abortionist came in to make sure that everything was in the Petri dish, right? This big dish that we had. And he was whistling, and I remember him saying to everybody, "What are we all gonna have for lunch?" When before this abortion, he told me to tell the young woman it was not a baby, it was a sack of tissue. And I remember screaming inside of myself, how can he not see what I'm seeing? And my question is, could you see? Could you see that those were babies?
I can answer that for myself. I cannot speak for any other abortionist in the world. Did I know those were human beings? Absolutely. I didn't care. I did not care.
For me, and I don't know the mechanism, I don't know the mental mechanism taking place, but for me, I guess I knew they were human, but it was very schizophrenic. But my interest was extremely scientific. I didn't see the difference between them and a chick embryo, or a frog that we dissected. And it wasn't till I read an article comparing abortion to the Holocaust that I suddenly realized that I could do these terrible things because I didn't consider them human beings. I didn't see them as human. And I guess more like animals. Although I can't imagine myself being willing to pull off the arms and legs of a little kitten, I probably would have had more sympathy for them. But somehow there's this darkness that clouds your mind, and you can do things that you would never think possible.
And I think by listening to that very short clip just now, we really see what these doctors thought about abortions and what the other doctors who are still doing them. They know those babies are human beings, but they don't care. And as this channel is also about spiritual warfare, let me share this clip of Father Joseph Iannuzzi also, where he shares how abortions empower the evil one.
Abortion is a sacrifice to Satan. Let's make no mistake about it. It is a sacrifice to Satan. Satan wants human life. Whether the couples are aware of this or not does not matter. Satan is empowered by abortion. Full stop. What did St. Padre Pio say? He said this: 1 day suffices without an abortion in order for God to grant peace to the world until the end of time. 1 day suffices without abortion. 1 day without abortion is enough for God to grant peace to the world until the end of time. Padre Pio's words. The number one issue is about human beings, us. You cannot put yourself aside. Children are indefensible. They're vulnerable. They're pure. And we must do everything in our power to ensure that their life is in safety, is insured, is protected. If we don't put that in the first place, something is wrong with our faith.
For the next part of this video, this is going to be a little bit disturbing, and I'm really sorry about that. So I'll start with this logo. I'm sure you've seen it somewhere before, and I'd like to cover on families as well as the role of fatherhood for the other half of this video. Again, it's disturbing, so if you're uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but some things must be said out loud, and we'll start with this. This is Lily Phillips, and if you're wondering why I'm including Lily Phillips in this video, is simply because of this. She wants to be the first ever person to have sex with 1,000 men, all in 24 hours.
Last week I did 101 guys. Now this was just the warm-up, because in February I'm going to be the first person ever to reach 4 digits of guys all in one day. Yes, 1,000 guys. Now this is going to be a ticketed event, so make sure you follow for more details. I want you to be a part of this.
And of course, why is she doing it? Well, there's another OnlyFans user who answered it here.
Even in his response, he's like, what, you'd do that for money? Well, duh, what do most people go to jobs and like go to work for? Money. Like, money makes the world go round. Like, why aren't you doing that? What other reason do you have to wake up in the morning other than to make money? And it just so happens that I enjoy my life and I get to do what I want to do. I get to come on camera for a living. Unbelievable.
And then there's another OnlyFans user by the name of Bonnie Blue who said that she wants to sleep with 900 people in one day. You might be wondering what her parents might think of this. Well, for one, you can either be shocked by her answer or that nothing really surprises you anymore in this world, the crazy things that people do for money and fame. So going back to Lily Phillips, who's a friend of Bonnie Blue, this is a video of her before her previous act, which is to sleep with 100 men.
I went viral for letting 23 guys run a train on me with my friend Bonnie. Now, that video is actually out now, so if you want to check that out, you know where to go. But if you want to be a part of the next one, I'm actually doing 100 guys in one day. So head on over to my Twitter to find out how to apply. Morning, so today is the day where I get run through by 100 guys. How many?
Now, there's a reason why I'm sharing their stories, but I'll start with this clip of my interview with the exorcist from the Philippines before, Father Winston on the cases why demons will sexually attack someone. Before I share that clip with you again, let me share you the aftermath of the session here.
It's actually insane.
Yeah, it's my
Again, I'm sorry for sharing this. So anyway, the clip of Father Winston.
Now, succubus, incubus attacks is an attack on a person. So a woman that is attacked in her dreams is called an incubus. And a man that is attacked in his dreams is called a succubus. Why in his dreams? Because he's not aware. But sometimes one is also aware that he is being sexually attacked. So when one is sexually attacked, spirits do not have sex. Evil spirits do not have sex. So even a woman might experience being attacked by a male demon, but she can also be attacked by a female demon, a demon that pretends to be female, or a demon that pretends to be male. In the same token, that men can also be sexually attacked, meaning they experience that they are being sexually harassed or raped in that context, and they could not move. They are paralyzed. We call this night terrors, that the person cannot do anything, as if being paralyzed. And the person, the attacking evil spirit, would probably appear first and foremost, first as a beautiful woman or handsome man, and then seduce the person, and the person would eventually give in to the seduction and then start to, do things, sexual acts. But then once the person they're already doing it, the demon manifests itself as a demon or as a monster. So those are succubus attacks and incubus attacks. Now, when you ask, why does that occur? How does that occur? If the house that the person lives in is infested by evil spirit, or that in the house where that occurred, the house has been used for evil purposes like orgies, sexual deviation, drug abuse, for example, or even for infidelities, perversities, then the house has been contaminated by a lustful spirit, which may affect a person that is sensitive or vulnerable if the person sleeps there. Okay, so that does happen. And when you ask why some persons are affected, in our experience, oftentimes this occurs on a regular basis on a person. It is possible that the person had been sexually molested in the past by a human being. So the vulnerability is now there because of the emotional trauma. So this is what we often see in cases of frequent succubus or incubus attacks. And this can happen to anyone. It can happen to regular persons. It can happen to religious men. It can happen to religious women. So it's because it is rooted in the traumatic experience. So if a person had traumatic experience that is connected sexually, then it is possible that the incubus and succubus attacks are connected with that.
And then, like I said before, the reason why I'm sharing you the news about those OnlyFans users and their sick projects has something to do with the clips of Father Reehil and Father Carlos Martins here on family as well as the role of fatherhood. For one, we know what the lack of the father's presence in a family does to the children. Take this for example, Britney Spears, who in her own words, got married to herself. And being such a huge celebrity like herself, it's not hard to look into her past and read about her relationship with her father. So please listen to this clip of Father Daniel Reehil here.
The family who has a devout and holy mother but a lukewarm father is stunted and suffers a loss of grace for the whole family. The children know love from the mother but are unclear as to how to live it out because it is not exhibited in the father. This is especially true in boys, and today in America, many boys are blessed with holy mothers but look to the father as their model. To seek the father's approval, they hide their faith. Over time, this kills the spirit within them. And often the cycle repeats into the next generation. So many families are broken apart because the father forfeited his role as guardian of the faith. Satan's attack on the family is twofold. First, he tells the woman she should be like a man, to deny her instinct and God-given gift to bring forth life as a mother, both physically and spiritually. Second, he tells men that love of God is for women, and that the man should only be concerned with material needs. This is not true. Although he should provide for the family, part of what he provides is guidance in morals and the faith. And of course, we all know that Sister Lucia was told that the final confrontation of evil would occur over the family. And I would say we're watching that play out. When the government is trying to create legal ways that your children can seek to be a different sex without the parents' knowledge, that's very serious and grave offense against the family. It's the family the parents who are in charge of raising the children first and foremost. Also with the faith, it's the door opens to the faith through the parents for the children. But we see that this is trying to be usurped out of the hands of the family. So we have to be aware first, and then there must be a call to action to protect the children. They're vulnerable. They're tiny little vulnerable creatures that are defenseless for the most part. And because their brains are not formed to discern well, whatever you put in their head has the potential of staying there. Whatever they view with their eyes has the potential of decaying their soul when it's not healthy. So they have to be protected. And that includes what they see, what they hear, how they're treated, the things they're taught, all of that. It's all important. And so, be sure to include that in your prayers every day too. When you're praying your rosary, you can list all these intentions at the beginning and ask particularly our Blessed Mother, who is the mother of all of humanity by virtue of what Jesus gave her at the cross. these are her children too. She knows it. You don't have to remind her, but you could say, I'm asking for a particular protection over my children and all the children of the world, because it's a big deal. As we know, in the extreme hatred of children that has come out in The Sound of Freedom, in that movie with Jim Caviezel, that's when you get to the ultimate hatred of children. That's the sort of thing that can occur, that they're trafficked and sold. And it's not just they're selling for sex crimes and making pornography with them. When they're so beaten down and the light has gone out from them and they're no longer considered a commodity, then I'm told that the body parts are sold. There's no respect for human life in some circles of people. So very important that we're praying for the children every day and that we're watching out for the children every day.
And as for the last clip in this video, I would like to share this clip of Father Carlos Martins here.
When we turn on movies today, when we turn on Hollywood, what do we see? Well, the leading men, the heroes of the movie, they're largely womanizers. They go chasing after this woman, and that's what is presented as manhood. Right? That when they give in to their own sexual desires, cravings, and temptations, that is what is presented as manhood. Those aren't the men. Those are the wimps. A real man controls his urges. A real man is able to give himself over to the Word of God simply because it is the Word of God. No matter what he feels internally, he doesn't crave into those feelings, right? Those that are opposed to God. And what do we have in a Hollywood leading man? We have somebody who is we make heroes out of mavericks, out of tough guys, out of guys who shoot from the hip, who live a reckless life, who are, who fire their gun at will. Saint Joseph had more manhood in the smallest pimple on his rear end than 100 Hollywood leading men. Right? Those are the wimps. Right? The man is who can get the job done according to the way that God wants it done. This is the great Joseph. Joseph is the centerpiece of the Holy Family, because without Joseph, there is no Holy Family. Now, we have these images, we see them on Christmas cards, we have them in paintings of Mary on top of a donkey, Joseph guiding this donkey across the Egyptian desert. It's a romantic, nice image. It's an endearing image. It makes us feel good, and it does. It's a beautiful image to look at. It's romantic in the most pure sense, that there is love. Love is guiding the child Jesus to safety in obedience to God. And so this man, Joseph, rises up and makes his wife as comfortable as he is able to as they make this journey to Egypt in order that Jesus be protected. God, the Father, entrusted that to Joseph.
Well then, that will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully all of you have learned something useful from this video. Remember, if there's any feedback or suggestion, please let us know in the comments below. Anyway, if you like what we do and you'd like to support us, I left a link to our PayPal donation in the description box below. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your continuous support, contributions, and prayers. And until the next one, thanks again for watching and may God bless you.